Welcome to Beam Foam Gaming.
Aha!
Happy St. Patrick's Day for all you Irish out there. And this is our review of
In Rays of the Light.
I'd like to thank the publisher for providing me a review copy of the game prior to its release. It was developed by
Sergey Noskov
and published by Sometimes You.
Sometimes me?
It is set to release for the price of $7.99, but if you jump on the pre-order option right now, you can score 20% off and get it for $6.39.
Oh, that's really nice.
In the rays of the light, you are alone. The abandoned remains of a former life, and the flourishing nature that feels great in the absence of man. This world is both gloomy and empty, but so incredibly beautiful. The game is an atmospheric author's parable about our place in this world, life and death. Explore a mysterious territory filled with a variety of details that reveal the story. With beautiful visuals and melodic soundtrack, composed by Dmitry Nikolaev, you solve logic puzzles and study text messages along the way.
We begin our adventure by awaking in a filthy rundown room staring at a static-filled TV, which is your first sign of truly being alone. Other than it seems like you have a power source, which was not initially shocking, but now that I think about it, okay. Right away you'll notice your environment is pretty run down. It appears that humans have not inhabited the building, as there's no real organization other than a few objects strategically placed here on tables there and there. Nothing is really explained as you fumble around in what appears to be a post-nuclear future. For all you achievement hunters out there, do not touch this flashlight. There's a storyline ending linked to not using the flashlight, which I didn't find out until about 3/4 of the way through my first playthrough. Yay! 3 playthroughs for me! Right away, I was put off on the sparse environment, which reminded me a lot of one of the first games I played back in 2005 on the Xbox 360, called Condemned. "16 years later, I'm not so glad to see a very similar clone being released on modern consoles. That's because In the Ray of Light is a remake of a 2012 game that got a re-release on Steam last year titled The Light Remake. And now, it's blessing the home console market with its presence. Having access to better hardware on the new consoles, I just figured developers would take advantage of the higher resolutions and frame rate and bring us some gaming to the next level. Instead, we have modern developers playing the old huckabuck with their old games.
Oh, looky here. What do we got here? I've got this old game on Steam. Maybe I could just file, save as. That might just work. The console gamers are stupid anyway.
Playing huckabuck with their old recycled games. I know. It's an $8 game. But typically I welcome the idea of porting games to new platforms. But I've noticed a recent trend of recycling old games for easy gamer score, rather than bringing some quality titles to the Xbox. Speaking of Steam ports, how about a little Horizon Zero love, huh? In Rays of Light has a solid foundation, as being the first-person exploration game, and the idea of a dystopian post-nuclear holocaust setting is a perfect environment for feeling truly alone and confused. In this, they have succeeded. But with the entire game taking place in a single building, we're talking first floor, second floor, and of course, who can forget the basement, and a small single-room building out back, the game feels unfulfilled. With the completion hanging around less than an hour, the old Rays of Light seems to have a dark future, outside of the initial rush of achievement and trophy hunters. Here's a link to Cheetah's guide, where he hits a full completion in less than 30 minutes.
Wow. Yo!
I completed my playthrough on the Series X, and the graphics engine still suffered to keep a solid frame rate. Really? It really didn't make a lot of sense to me why it'd be dropping frames, just moving back and forth quickly in an empty room. Multiple times I saw pop up in short draw distances just looking down the hallway. It wasn't much for a soundtrack, other than setting the mood in the dark, cavernous basement where they intentionally confused the player. I wouldn't ask for much more from the sound effects, and the birds singing outside, mocking me, the glass crunching under my feet, and the ever-present sound of a fly buzzing in my ear was enough for me to find an excuse to listen to something else. Overall, the tiny footprint that the game takes place in, the lack of secret areas or Easter eggs at all, the phoned-in storyline, and the fact that you're just left to try and figure out where to go, what to do, coupled with the time I spent in that basement walking around in circles in the dark with a broken flashlight. And even when I did find an object to interact with, the highlighting was so subtle that most players would just walk right past it. I cannot recommend this journey for anyone outside of my fellow achievement hunters. After this long list of shortcomings, in the ray of light, you're lucky to get 2 out of 5 beans. Playing huckabuck with their old recycled games. You better take them beans and run, boy. Come on, boy. Yeah. Go home. Yeah.